Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 172. Any articles or videos can be mentioned on my website that I mentioned can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Just look for weekly recap newsletter 220. So just a quick summary of things that happened this past week in Star Atlas. The Atlas Brew occurred and was focused exclusively on the C4 PTR, and that was kind of it. So again, just things I'm working on in Star Atlas. Of course, you can check out my website, intergalacticherald.com. Great resource for guides, directories, recaps, and my Discord newsfeed. I'll be up front. Everything is previous parts of Star Atlas, nothing yet on C4. Don't know when I'll start adding content, but we'll see how the progression goes. Also do have a Star Atlas merch store at intergalacticgear.com and love to get together with other Star Atlas gamers, so I'm trying to get a community going at intergalacticcoalition.com. So as I mentioned, this past week, the Atlas Brew was exclusively focused on the PTR, so we got some new information on kind of how the daily, weekly, I guess it's only 1 week, but how things are going. So I'll just kind of do a recap. If you want to listen to the whole thing, again, do check out Star Atlas TV's YouTube channel, or where they have the full recordings of community events, so you can listen to that. Or, of course, if you're on this podcast feed, you probably already got my AI few-minute summary that went over that. So anyway, I'll just kind of go through the list of things that stood out to me. So one, they do have a bug tracking system. Obviously, they're programmers. So I did fire up the PTR last weekend and found that thing and submitted, not necessarily a bug, but I think it was not a feature request. What was it? Feedback. Fonts are just too small. It's very hard for me to read. But anyways, so we got some information kind of how the developers are looking at. So yeah, they're definitely looking at their bug tracking system. One thing that was interesting that I didn't realize just off of the town hall was that not all features are available yet in the test suite. And I wasn't sure if that meant their testing suite for programming or if they meant the C4 doesn't, or the PTR doesn't have anything, because they kind of mentioned like combat wasn't available. So we're just figuring things out. So maybe like everything's been built, but they haven't turned it on yet. So I guess we'll find out more as things go on. Some feedback from the community was that the recipes are very simple, but it was mentioned that is just how they're starting. They're not really focused on that, so they didn't actually put those in there. They did say they were focusing on the crafting habs and the claim stakes, so that, of course, makes sense. And then someone came on stage and kind of asked a question about kind of where they're focused on, and this wasn't an ordered list, but it was mentioned that, yeah, they're fixing bugs, then they want to get combat, then work on some of the onboarding processes, and then even getting the cultivation claims within C4. So, yeah, all kind of made sense, but good to hear. A couple other things that were mentioned. One, they said kind of the performance is really good. So Starframe, I forget what it was, but it's the replacement for the system called Starcom. They said it was working really good. So that's a good indicator of progress, because that was part of the problem with HoloSim and why they had issues there. They did mention that updates to the PTR are just being pushed, no announcements. They're doing it daily, but then it was mentioned that they are starting to try to put some, at least weekly, or updates on the Discord, so you can check that out. Somebody asked if scanning was working, and they were able to look it up and mention that there are some UI issues, and so, yeah, it's working, but you're not aware that it's working type of thing. So there was a discussion about how everything's a local market now and no galactic marketplace. Not really. Haven't played yet. I didn't really understand the pros or cons of that, or if it was just there. Somebody did ask if there would be a server reset, and they said, yeah, there just has to be for features and things like that. So again, it's a test. So that's not at all, it's just going to happen. And then they finally ended the brew mentioning that all future brews for the time being are going to be focused on C4 PTR. So that makes tons of sense. So yeah, so that was kind of the Atlas Brew. Actually kind of felt like exactly what I would expect a week after the town hall and when everybody's into it. So kind of thinking about my thoughts on the state of StarOS this at the current time. So yeah, we finally made it to the C4 PTR. And again, I did try it last weekend. I just didn't have a lot of time, so I only got into it ever so briefly. So it opened. That was success for me. But yeah, I think we do just still need to acknowledge it exists. I mean, is it ready for production? No, but nobody expected it to be. So totally understand that there's bugs and things like that. And yeah, I mean, they've been upfront. This is the public test release. No realm. I don't remember what it stands for. Anyways, on my personal thoughts, I do admit feeling completely overwhelmed as soon as I started up, but that was to be expected. Mentioned at the town hall and later comments in the foundation room. But I guess my observation was it was even more overwhelming than even if I was anticipating it being overwhelming. But I think that kind of moves into the lack of tutorials, which again, they were upfront about. It's just, and that the fact that the game is in quote God mode now where everything's available. So again, I think it was just, yeah, it just is what it is. I mean, it's a test, everything's available, no tutorials, and yeah, what do you even do, type of thing. I mean, everything's different. So, but there was, even though I didn't play that long, kind of some sense of familiarity. And I think, again, this is great for anybody who's been playing Sage. There are common elements. I mean, the map, even though it's different, is the same map, same shape. Again, the systems and the planets and regions. I mean, again, it feels similar, but of course totally different. So, and again, I barely spent 15 minutes. So again, not at all shocking. So, and definitely glad to hear the tutorials are being worked on, because again, it was just hard to know, like, well, what do I even start with? So, but again, this is just part of the testing. So the only other thing I was slightly, and I kind of mentioned about being a little confused again, that everything's available, but it just doesn't sound like everything's turned on. But again, availability as far as the features exist, but they just don't want like combat to have that yet. I mean, again, it's a test. It totally makes sense. So yeah, so that was kind of it. I think going forward, again, I'm hoping, with more Atlas brews and more refinements and less bugs and a little bit of tutorials, we'll see this natural progression where it starts to feel like a really good, solid product. And again, it's 1 week, so nothing, can't expect anything. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Again, that was all that kind of happened this week in StarOS. Still feels like the Discord is incredibly quiet. So again, maybe that's okay. As far as my journey still playing Sage, still got my automations running, still mining whichever resource. So just kind of continuing to go through the motions there. We'll see. And again, that's pretty much it. Just a new normal light week of just bug fixing and reporting and seeing what the community is giving feedback on the PTR. So anyways, just wrap up again. Totally open. If anybody wants to be a guest on the podcast, please reach out at the website, intergalacticherald.com, or you can reach out to me on the StarOS Discord. My name's there. Again, check out my website. Outdated directories, recap. Well, I guess the recaps are updated, and the Discord news feed. But yeah, all my guides are for tools or for game components that are going away. Actually, just dawned on me, it is really, well, I guess the UE5 stuff still has some merit, but yeah, the Sage stuff will be 100%. Yeah, oh well. That's life, game development, so they've served their purpose. Anyways, merch store, intergalacticgear.com, community, intergalacticcoalition.com. Other than that was the week in StarOS. My name is Matt. Have a great week ahead.